Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hasni,
Yeah.
principal, sir.
Yeah. Good. I mean, I greeted him. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Very good morning.
Sir, with Hasni, Akshat is also here. Sarah is also here.
Yes, sir. They both are
Okay, sir.
They represent MUN Impact, and Akshat represent First Step 2, sir.
Akshad and Sarah, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So, shall we start?
We can, sir. We can, sir.
Okay.
You want to wait a minute because like 10 exactly. I want to start, sir.
Okay, sir. Now, once you say, then we'll start.
Anytime is fine, sir. We are ready. Just wanted to give a couple of minutes for students, or we can start also, whichever you feel comfortable.
I think we can start. They would join, sir.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Jai Gurudev, and a very pleasant morning to one and all. It's indeed a great pleasure to welcome the founder and CEO of the First Step. As most of you are aware, the first step is very important for everyone to realize their potential and work towards their goals. With these few words, I welcome Ms. Hasini and the associated staff, Akshad and Sarah, to this August gathering. The first step has been very instrumental in conducting interviews of young achievers and inspiring everyone to start their action and work towards their desire as well as their goals. With these few words, once again, I extend a very cordial welcome to one and all. I request Ms. Hasni to take up the session.
Thank you so much for the very warm welcoming and a wonderful introduction, sir. And thank you so much for the opportunity for us to give this platform where we can spread awareness about the SDG goals. So, like you said, that's about today's session and why we all have gathered here for. Now, let me just give a quick introduction about myself and the first step, the whole team. I'm Hasni Lakshmi Narayanan. I'm an 8th grader from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India, studying in Chettinad Ashram. I run an organization called The First Step. So, First Step is basically a non-profit organization where we aim to inspire, motivate, and empower children. I am also a freelance writer for the Hindu School Edition, and I'm a TED speaker. Now, to talk about the First Step, as I said, it's a platform where we are trying to motivate and empower children. Now, the means of how we are doing it as far as for now is by writing, interviewing, and posting blogs. So I have a team of 15 children. Together we are on this mission. So this is how we started back in 2020 by interviewing young achievers, which was all by myself. I was the only person who started out the venture, but then eventually we started getting together, doing more adventures, if I can say. And then, we launched our very own website. We started writing blogs together. Now, to introduce Akshat, he has been with us from the very early beginning. So he's a chief editor of the First Step, also an author. He's written a book called The Tea Party. You can have a base. Hi, Akshat. And also we have Sarah here, who would also represent the 100 Days Challenge from the MUN Impact. Now we will learn about that later. Now let me finish the introduction of the First Step. And also on our very first anniversary on 15th of July 2021, we launched our new series called The World of Seven Lines. So this is basically where we convey a person's journey in just 7 lines, so that people can get to know more about it better, as people have their own priorities. We are coming up with strategies on how we can reach out to them better. And lastly, our pretty recent launch was on the youth ambassadorship, where you can actually volunteer into being a part of the first step. And together we're doing many fun activities. For example, the 24-hour challenge, the workshop which we are doing. So together we are just doing a lot of stuff together. So if I can say, so they're also on this mission along with me from Power More Youth and Children. And with that, it brings us here today. The first step is also doing and collaborating with a lot many other organizations, doing many more events. I am also following few SDGs and I'm working on it. So we, the first step, collaborated with the MUN on the 100K Leads Challenge. So the very first step is we started doing workshops. So that leads us to this point. Now, Akshat will further on introduce about the MUN impact, the 100K Leads Challenge, and we move on to the workshop from there. Over to you, Akshat. And thank you so much for everyone who joined today. And I hope you like it.
Thank you so much, Hasni. And good morning, everybody. This is an immense pleasure for me to be here to present on behalf of the entire organization that I'm part of, the 100K Leads, and also the first step. We cordially welcome you to the SDG workshop. We are grateful that so many people have assembled here to listen about the SDGs. Those are SDG 1, 2, 4, and 5. These are the SDGs that the first step focuses on, and 100K Leads on a whole focuses on all the SDGs. So it gives me immense pleasure to be here to explain about the point of focus of both the organizations. Thank you so much for coming here. And I would like to start my presentation now. Yes. I hope you all can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So giving you an introduction about what the Sustainable Development Goals are. In 2015, the United Nations adopted a universal call to end poverty or and eradicate hunger or bring peace, justice, and build sustainable cities and reduce inequalities, and brings clean water and sanitation facilities to everybody in the world. So these are the goals that the United Nations brought about in 2015. All the countries are striving to achieve these goals, and these goals are to be achieved by 2030. And we are progressing at a fast rate towards it. And the biggest blockade for the SDGs right now is the COVID-19 pandemic. So there is something known as a deed that you perform when it comes to SDGs. When you do a good deed that helps us progress towards one or many of the SDGs, it is known as a deed. And when you perform a deed, it's not only that one SDG is benefited, multiple SDG could be benefited. And one deed that you could perform to help us to move forward towards achieving all 17 SDGs would be to stay at home, stay safe, wear your masks when you go out, or get vaccinated when the chance comes, or sanitize your hands. These are all deeds that you could do that would remove the blockade of the COVID-19 pandemic, that would help all 17 SDGs at once. So we cordially we request you to follow all COVID-19 parameters and protocols. And with that, I will be moving on to the next slide. So what is the 100K Leads Challenge? Like I told you, a deed is a good action that you do that impacts the SDGs and helps us achieve the SDGs by the goal of 2030. And the 100K Deeds Challenge, we are a youth-driven initiative run by MUN Impact, a non-profit organization which was launched in 2017, and it's based out in New York, but it's got student audience from all around the world. And it's managed by over 150 students, including 50 student translators, so that we can break the language barrier and reach a wider umbrella of people. And we don't want someone to miss out on the 2030 agenda because they don't know English. So we have 50 student translators working to make this challenge accessible to all. And this challenge was created to raise awareness of the sustainable development goals for aspiring young people of schools, universities, or offices. And in your example, it's going to be a school. So we are delighted to present this workshop to you. So how can you help spread this challenge? Since you're all students, I'll give a roadmap of how students can help perform deeds, help spread the challenge. First step, you have to perform deeds. This can be, a deed can be anything from planting a forest or participating in a plantation to switching off your tube light or your fan when you get out of the room. So that's the range of what kind of deeds that we accept. And as a parent, teacher, or organization member, you can share this campaign, the 100K Deeds Challenge, on school and college grounds, and you can let it reach as many students as possible. And you can encourage your children, students to perform deeds, and you could share deeds that they have completed. Now, since most of you are students and our target audience is students, we request you to, if possible, take this challenge to your parents or teachers or organization members, and through that medium you could reach a much wider umbrella of people who could perform deeds and help us achieve the Agenda 2030. So how do you participate? How do you submit a deed, and how do you officially participate in achieving 100,000 deeds? First step is to download the toolkit from 100kdeeds.org. 100kdeeds.org is our website. And the toolkit is a document that lets you know everything that you need to know before you submit a deed. For example, if you would like to know in detail about an SDG that you performed a deed for, say you participated in a plantation, you would be helping SDG, an SDG named Life on Land, or you would be helping an SDG named Climate Action. So would you like to learn about that SDG? You could go to the toolkit, you could learn about that SDG, you can learn about the different deeds you can perform for that SDG. And there's a document known as the example deeds document, where if you would want to help achieve a certain SDG, there's going to be example deeds in that document, which tells you these are the things that you can do to achieve this SDG. However, you could be creative. You could think out of that example deeds document, and you're not limited to those documents. So basically, any good deed that you do is going to help the SDGs in some or the other way. So that you are requested to look at the toolkit, but you're not constrained to that toolkit. Another important fact is that the toolkit is not in just English. The toolkit is in several different languages, including Tamil, Hindi, French, Portuguese, Spanish, and many other languages. So if you're not comfortable with English and you are comfortable with another language, so you could definitely go and take a look at the document in that language as well. You could download the toolkit in that document in that language as well. A second step would be to submit your deed. Now, the 100K Deeds website is a very navigable one. Once you open the link, you will be able to see all the links, all the information that you need, all the tabs that you need. You'll be able to find them very easily in our website. And one such tab is the Share Your Deeds tab, in which you will find this Submit Your Deed button. If you click this button, you will be taken to a collection tool. I request Sarah to put up the collection tool link in the chat box. So when you press on that link in the chat box, or when you press on this button, you will be taken to a submission form. and you will be able to fill that form. It's a very small form which asks you about your deed and the SDG that it helped, and basically a few other of your opinions about the SDGs. And this form, you'll, as I mentioned, it's very easy to find. And if you're under 13 years old, you can fill one form. But if you're a parent or a teacher or organization member who wants to submit a deed on behalf of your ward or your student, you can do that in a separate. There's a separate form for that too. The third step would be to register for the challenge and join our mailing list to get regular updates. Once you submit your form, you will see this page, and when you click on the register, when you click on a button, you'll register for the challenge, and you'll join our mailing list. So whenever we have new initiatives coming up, you will get a mail regarding that specific initiative. So that's what the mailing list is about. And the fourth step would be to see your deed appear on a global map. Now, within a small time period after you submit your deed, if you go visit our website, you'll be able to see this global map. And you see these small dots on the global map. These are all deeds that we got from different places of the world. So on the right side, there are statistics based on the deeds that we have received. So when you see your own deed appear on the global map, it's a really enticing step, or it's the most enticing step of the 4-step way to submit the deed. So that's one gratifying factor of submitting a deed, to see your impact on this world. Now I will move on to the next slide, which talks about SDG 1, and I will be handing the stage over to Sarah.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. So I will be speaking about SDG 1, that is about poverty. And it is an unfortunate reality in our country. It is a phenomenon that each and everyone knows about, unfortunately. And as I speak today, around 700 million people, or about 10% of the world population, lives in extreme poverty. And by that I mean they're struggling to fulfill the most basic needs like health, education, and access to water and sanitation are just a few too. And this has been further entailed by the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been further intensified as there has been a reversing trend of poverty reduction, with tens of millions of people in the risk of being pushed back into extreme poverty. So what exactly contributed to poverty? One of the main reasons I think all of us could have guessed is unemployment. Other is contributing as diseases. If someone isn't well, if someone can't afford a basic health checkup, then they're obviously sick and they cannot be employed. Social exclusion, something is very evident in our country, as we have had a caste-based discrimination history before. And some populations which are high vulnerability are the old senior citizen of our country, young children, women. These are just a few to name by. And these are all the phenomena which prevent them from being productive, and therefore they cannot be employed or get adequate wages as well. You might be wondering, as in, why should you care about others' economic situation if I'm believing most of us are privileged to be in this workshop as well, to have internet, but there are some who can't. But why should we be worried about it? The most basic reason I think is we are all human. We are all interlinked with each other, and it's a basic humanity that everyone in this world is suffering. We should help them. If we are privileged, we can always help them. People are in extreme poverty, which endangers global public health, prevents children from going to school, preventing literacy, and spreads hopelessness and despair. And we all have an obligation to combat that. So what can we do? Let's see that in the next slide. So one thing is that our active engagement in policy making can make a difference, and it really can, in addressing poverty. And it is something that it's also a right. As we live in a democracy, it is our right to hold the government accountable for making sure that no one is left behind. And a few other things that we can do is, donate your extra stationery supplies and old school bags to underprivileged children. You can donate your old textbooks to people who can't afford it, or you can donate $20 to UNICEF. You can contact your local NGOs to know how you can combat extreme poverty. or you can get in touch with these poverty relief organizations, or see, you can help in signing petitions. That's also a huge step as well. When such actions are multiplied by millions, they create a transformable change. I hope that that's convincing you to support SDG 1. So moving on to the next slide, it's about hunger. As you can see, the zero hunger and poverty are somewhere interrelated. If you aren't, if you aren't fulfilled, your hunger isn't fulfilled, you can't be gainfully employed. You have to achieve food security to make sure that you're healthy and to be employed. So, extreme hunger and malnutrition remains a barrier to sustainable development, and it creates a trap from which people cannot easily escape. Hunger and malnutrition means less productive individuals who are more prone to diseases, and this can lead again to poverty as well. And it's often unable to earn more and improve their livelihoods. And as we speak today, more than 690 million people were undernourished in 2019, and it was mainly in Asia and Africa, mostly Africa. It's known as the dark continent. And if these trends continue, then the numbers can go into millions. And by 2030, a huge amount of people will be suffering from malnutrition. So why are so many people hungry? Yes, one of the answer is poverty as well, but another is climate change. Climate shocks and locust crisis, the pandemic poses an additional threat to food system. Civil insecurity and declining food production have all contributed to food scarcity and high food prices. Investment in the agriculture sector is critical for reducing hunger and poverty, and this is something that has been decreasing in most economies as well. And improving food security and creating employment and building resilience to disaster and shocks. These are things that government should be working upon, but as more and more we're going on and progressing, these investments are reducing. Why should you care? We all want, our families to have enough food to eat, what is safe and nutritious. And a world with zero hunger can positively impact our economies, health, education, equality, and social development as well. It's a piece of building a better future for everyone. So what can you do exactly? How can you make changes? Let's see that in the next slide. These are just a few example deeds. You can find even more on our website as well. So you can create a campaign to convince people to not throw any vegetables away. You can do a compost, you can donate, you can educate farmers about the farm to table movement. You can sponsor a person's meal for a day, perhaps your birthday or any special occasion. You can donate items of canned food and many other things. You can find even more examples on our website. Progressing on to the next SDG, I think is something that all the students can relate to.
Sarah, before that, I think we can have this fastest fingers first. Before that, is that
sure?
Right?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, now I'm sure that you all are tired after hearing about all these SDGs, and it's all overwhelming information, and it's all about crisis, and all problems. So, I think you'd all be interested in a little bit of fun, a little bit of a game, basically. So this is Fastest Fingers First. It's a game that we have planned from the 100K Deeds Challenge, where basically we ask you a question, or we put it up in the slide, and you have to type out the answer in the chat box. And the person who does it first, without typos and with correct capitalization, will be considered the winner for that question. And will basically they'll get a point, and the one with the most points wins today's round of Fastest Fingers First. Who's ready? As a warm-up, I'd like to see I am ready in the chat box. If you're ready, put up I am ready in the chat box. Excellent. Okay. So let's start. The name of SDG 1, put it up in the chat box, please. What's the name of SDG 1? No poverty. There we go.
It was
Mauptika has got it correct.
and Shifa who's the first one to do it.
Great. Excellent. Excellent.
Great.
Now, this is a little bit more of a non-SDG related one. The days of the week in backward order, starting with Thursday, and it should all be in the same message. It should not be different messages. The days of the week in backward order, starting with Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, and Friday. Yep, that's right. I think, yeah, Rishi once got it. Anyone else would be willing to try? We're still missing a few days. Right, okay. So we'll be moving on to the next question. What's the name of SDG 2? Type out the name of SDG 2.
It goes
Zero hunger, there you go. That's correct. Zero hunger, that's correct. That's Mauktika, I think, right? Yeah, right. Finally, the 100K deeds challenge. Type out 100K deeds challenge exactly as it's mentioned with capitalization in the chat box. With capitalization.
Yeah, that's the first person. Is Rishi one?
Yep, Shifa has got it right with exactly as it has been written. And then we have Priyadarshan too, who got it exactly correct.
A lot of people follow it.
Excellent. And we have any one example deed for SDG 1, please. Any one example deed for SDG 1, it could be mentioned in 1 or 2 words, that would be enough. Any one example deed. There you go, donating extra stationaries. Awesome, that's one. Type out fastest fingers first with all the F's in capital in the chat box, please. Yes, Rishivant has the second point now. I think Rishivant and Shifa are tied in the first place with 2 points each, right? Yeah.
Then we can give a big
There's I think 2 more or 1 more to go. Any one example deed of any example deed and the SDG, it will be help. Like either it's no poverty or zero hunger, any one would be fine, but you'll have to mention the deed with the SDG. One example deed with, yep, there you go. Rishivant has broken the tie with 3 points now. Donating food to hungry people, and that's SDG 2. And I'd like you to type out sustainable development goals with SDG in capital in the chat box. Yep, Meena has got it. Meena has got the correct answer. Okay, so I think that's the end of fastest fingers first today, and the winner would be Rishivant with 3 points. Excellent. I hope all of you had fun, and this was hugely interactive with all of you. We hope that this energy we could put into achieving the SDGs and benefiting the human race entirely. Now we'll be moving on with the next SDG, SDG 4. Sarah, I'd like you to present SDG 4.
Sure. So as I said before, SDG 4 is about quality education, a goal I think the students can relate to the most. So it's about ensuring inclusive and quality education for all and promote lifelong learning. So why is education important? I think it's we are all here in a school, so I think we should have the answer for it. Anyone in the chat box, unmute just 1 point of why are you educating yourself today? You can unmute yourself and speak if that's fine. For work, okay, so to be employed, that is 1 point. And if you're employed, then what would happen? What is the consequence of being employed? Money, resources, yes. So I guess we can all like condense all of these points to the fact that if you're educated, we can escape poverty. And if we're escaping poverty, then we can exclude like the health problems that we may go through. So yeah, so that is one of the reasons to escape poverty. And one more reason is that it can help reduce inequalities and reach gender equality, and is crucial for fostering tolerance and more peaceful societies. So what I mean by this is that if you're educated, you are less likely to be gender biased. You can create a more inclusive society for the next generation. Yes, and we can get food and all SDGs correct. And over the past decade, major progress has been made towards increasing access to education and school enrollment rates at all levels, and particularly for girls, as they're the vulnerable section. Even in our country, our government has taken certain steps. Previously, there was midday meal schemes. We have other programs that the central government has arranged for. And okay, but this thing SDG has also been hit due to COVID-19, as all the other SDGs. And I think we are all suffering from it as well. COVID-19 has impacted our education. Initially, it was a bit difficult to adjust into the online lessons. Initially, most schools didn't have the provision for online schools. And as we speak, till today, it's been 2 years since COVID-19 has been lurking around, and yet some schools don't have the provision for online classes. They're still missing it out. But with all of these negativity, let me tell you about some progress that we have made. So the primary school completion rate reached 84% in 2018, up from 70% in 2000, which is a great increase. And under current trends, it's expected to reach 89% globally by 2030. But as we say that sky is the limit, and we should always aim for 100%, if not 100, perhaps a 99. And in about 74 countries with comparable data for the period 2011 and 19, around 7 in 10 children aged 3 and 4 were developmentally on track in at least 3 of the following domains. That is, according to the HDI, literacy, numeracy, physical development, and socioeconomic development. So where are the people exactly struggling to have access to education? Which is the vulnerable section of our society? It's on the screen as well. Can someone type it in the chat? A keyword would suffice. Where are people struggling to have access to education? What is the target audience when we talk about SDG 4? Because I feel like we all have access to education. So who are the people who don't have access to it? You can unmute or you can answer in the chat. Young ones, okay, so young people, you mean young kids. And another population who is also not very, doesn't have a lot of access to education is schools in remote areas. Old people, yes, old people do. But if we speak of the youth, then which parts? Imagine in Kashmir, in the areas where there's climate change is happening, floods are happening. Students don't have access to schools in that areas because the climate doesn't support it. And the schools in remote areas, when we talk about rural areas, they're facing the biggest challenge with providing schools and basic resources. And the situation is extreme at primary and lower secondary levels, as Suviksan said, young ones. And schools there even have, a very few access to drinking water, electricity, computers, and the internet. So why do many people not have access to quality education? Providing schools with basic resources. Few schools have access to drinking water, electricity, computers, and internet. And inequalities also worsen this gap. Yeah, exactly. They don't have access to basic things. Then not having access to quality education becomes secondary in that case. So women and girls are one of these groups, and about 1/3 of the countries in developing regions have not achieved gender equality yet. Now, even despite years of steady growth in the economic rates, we still suffer from poverty, and COVID-19 has hit it further. But just discussing the problems doesn't solve everything. We all have to take an action. Let's see what actions we can take. We can create a library in different languages to send children in need. We can donate $20 to local charities, or we have one Samsung Global Apps. We can, once again, donate stationery to underprivileged students. Yes, you're absolutely correct when you say people don't even have houses. So if we can make our part, maybe slowly that can change. When small actions are multiplied by millions, they can create a huge and transferable change. And when people are educated, and these problems, as they don't have dress, they don't have house, will also eradicate as soon. Moving on to the next SDG, something that is the talk of current India, gender equality. So to achieve gender equality and empower our women and girls, that's something SDG 5 propagates. So why is it that, women and girls are required to empower? Why not other people? The reason is that we are still in a gender gap. Women and girls represent half of the world's population and therefore half of its potential. But today, gender equality persists everywhere and stagnates social process. Women continue to be underrepresented at all levels, including the political levels as well. We don't have a lot of women politicians, do we? And across the globe, women and girls perform a disproportionate share of unpaid domestic work. And inequalities faced by girls can begin right at birth and follow them through all their lives. We have certain social practices as well in the past that have politically been eradicated, abolished, but still persist in the social system. And in some countries, girls are deprived of access to healthcare or proper nutrition, which is leading to a higher mortality rate as well. And in some countries, education is stopped for girls as well. Not even in some countries, but in most areas of the world, that's still happening. But why should gender equality matter to you, is my question. Why do you think that there should be an equality for women? Why there should be equality for everyone? What is the main reason for achieving equality? Anyone in the chat? They can excel in what they like. Yes, that will excel all of us together. And one more reason I think we can add on is that everyone is a human. We all have certain fundamental rights as a human. Everyone has the right to live properly, right to live in a good livelihood, right to live with dignity, irrespective of who they are. And that is something, the goal of gender equality. It's critical to all areas of a healthy society. And achieving gender equality can help in reducing poverty, promote health, education, and protection as well. Yes, we should, and that will help in achieving zero hunger and in turn in poverty as well. And some other things that we can do, I see people in the chat book excited for what they can do. I'd like to add on is that how we can fix these issues. Moving to the next slide, we can see that if you're a girl yourself, you can stay in a school and empower your female classmates to do the same. If you're a woman, you can address unconscious bias and implicit associations that form an unintended and often an invisible barrier to equal opportunity. And if you are a boy or a man, you can always work alongside your female coworkers or classmates and embrace gender equality. Other things that you can do is create interactive games that explain gender equality. You can create a video or slideshow presentation like today. You can do it somewhere else, maybe in your apartment. Maybe on some fine Sunday, you can highlight the importance of gender equality through a slideshow presentation. Yes, and irrespective of who you are, who the person next to you is, you should respect them as always. That's also something you're embracing gender equality. You can educate yourself about ownership and inheritance laws affecting women within your country. You should make people aware of the basic rights. That is something you can do. Start a discussion with your family or any circle you feel comfortable bringing this topic. Post on social media if you are, and raise awareness about local feminist movement and provide basic information about the movement within your country. You can do that if you're 14 plus. That's a few things that you can do. I'll hand it over back to Akshat for concluding the session.
So the 100K Deeds Challenge is not only presenting workshops to students like you. We also have a blog where you could in which you could visit and see some of our stories. We have stories about each SDG in detail. We have stories about the deeds that we've received. Some of the deeds that we have received in this year are extremely, inspiring and motivational, and they make us want to do something to benefit the world ourselves. So I request all of you to visit the Our Stories tab of the 100K Deeds website. I request Sarah to put it up in the chat box. Yes, it's there now. And we'll just have a recap of how you can share how you can spread the challenge. So basically, as a student, you can perform deeds, and you can let your friends, neighbors, and fellow school college mates know. Or as a parent, teacher, or organization member, you can share the campaign on school or college grounds and let it reach as many students as possible. You can encourage your students to perform deeds, or you can share deeds that your organization has completed. Now, since most of you are students and since our target audience is students, what you can do is you can take the news of the campaign to your parents, teachers, or organization members so that they can reach a wider umbrella of students, and we can perform many more deeds at an exponential rate. So how can you take part? There are 4 steps to submit a deed. One is to download the toolkit, which is a document which tells you everything that you need to know before you submit a deed. It's present in many different languages. And step 2 would be to share your deeds to a deed submission form. Now, this can be easily found in our website. It's just a form that you need to fill, and you'll get a confirmation email. Third step would be to register for the challenge and join our mailing list to get regular updates about initiatives and other campaigns that we do. And the fourth step would be the most enticing step, that is to see your deeds appear on the global map as these little dots and see your impact on the world on the basis of the SDGs. Those are the 4 steps for you to take part. And you can contact us through these mediums. One is we have a website, as mentioned earlier, 100kdeeds.org. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn under the handle Deeds for the SDGs. And we also have an email ID which you can mail to if you have any questions, or if at all you just want to have a conversation about the SDGs. You can definitely mail us at deedschallenge@munimpact.org. And we have an introduction video as to what the 100K Deeds challenge is. And also we have another video to explaining in detail how to submit a deed within 5 minutes. All these links have been put up in the chat box, so please be sure to visit them. And we are open to questions now. If you have any questions, you could put them in the chat box, or you can unmute and speak to us. We are ready to take feedback as well. So if you have any feedback, you can unmute, or you could put it up in the chat box as well. We would love to hear it.
Yes. So if anyone has any questions, request you to put it down in the chat.
Any questions regarding the SDGs as well will be addressed.
If you would want to unmute your mics and talk, just raise your hands. Maybe I'll unmute you so that you can. Or else you can put it in the chat.
We are open to feedback as well. Did you enjoy this session? Do you want to learn more about the SDGs? Are you inspired? Are you motivated to take action towards achieving the SDGs? You can put that in the chat box as well. We are ready to hear it. We are open to hearing it, and we would love to hear it too. That's wonderful. I think you are clear about the SDGs, which is really wonderful. But just to make sure everyone is, they are inspired and motivated. And yes, I am seeing some feedback. We are really glad that you enjoyed this session, and we are glad that you enjoyed the session, and we also love to hear we love to hear this feedback. But if you have any questions, we are ready to take them too. Okay, great. So I'll be moving on to the next slide. Okay, one thing I really love in this session is that our audience, our participants were very, very passionate about the SDGs and very, very passionate about performing deeds. And I'm seeing that they love this session, and they want to participate in achieving the SDGs by 2030. So this is one chance for you. This is the stepping stone for you to start your journey into achieving the SDGs. And this is presenting to you the 100K Deeds Challenge in collaboration with First Step, the 24-hour challenge. This is a challenge in which participants are split into teams, and each team will be performing as many deeds as possible within 24 hours about SDG 1, 2, 4, or 5 based on the SDG that they are assigned. And they can perform as many deeds as possible within 24 hours to they can perform as many deeds, and the winner team, that is the team with the most number of deeds, will be certified. And also those who participate, all the participants will be getting a certificate, and the winning team with most number of deeds performed will be getting a special certificate and a social media shout out on the First Step and the 100K Deeds Challenge social media. And this 24-hour challenge will be telecasted live on the First Steps YouTube channel, just like this workshop is being telecasted on the YouTube channel. And the channel has about 1,600 subscribers. So you will be reaching, when you perform your deed, you can be, if you request for it, your deed can be telecasted live as you do it on the YouTube channel, and you will be reaching thousands of viewers. So if you are interested, you can register for the 24-hour challenge. The registration link will be put up in the chat box now. Sarah, I request you to put it up. And that's about the 24-hour challenge. And it's a wonderful opportunity to start your journey towards achieving the SDGs, and to it's a wonderful thing that you could add to your resume. So please be sure to register for the 24-hour challenge, which is taking place on 5th December, starting from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to the school for giving us this opportunity. Thank you so much for the First Step for connecting us with the school. We loved performing this session with you, and I hope that you all enjoyed this session as much as I enjoyed I enjoyed, as in we, both myself and Sarah, enjoyed presenting it.
So yeah, thank you so much, Akshat and Sarah, for making it wonderfully as usual. And yeah, I just got 2 questions. What is your age? I'm 15. Akshat is 14. And Sarah?
So basically, the 100K Deeds Challenge is a youth-led organization, just like First Step.
Yes.
So not only me, almost everyone in the 100K Deeds Challenge will be ranging from about, we have a 11-year-old, and we also have up till 18 years old. Now, personally, I'm 14 years old, and that's the average age of everyone that's there in the 100K Deeds Challenge.
Also, we do have people from universities as well. And so if you're in university or you know someone's in university and interested in advocating for sustainable development, we do have leadership positions for that as well. Everything's available on the website.
Yes. And I again request you to probably post the links because people are actually getting to ask me for that. I'm posting the First Steps handles. So in case you want to know about them, check it out. Yeah, that's about it. And, thank you so much. I hope you guys liked it and hoping to see all of you there for the Critical Heart Challenge, which is taking place on 5th December.
Yeah, once again, on behalf of Maharishi Vidya Mandir School, I extend my sincere gratitude and thanks to Ms. Hasini, Master Akshat, and Ms. Sarah. You have done your part, and we are sure our children will take it forward and will come out successful in completing the 100K Deed Challenge, as you have mentioned the due date. So once again, on behalf of everyone, I extend my sincere thanks for enlightening our students and giving them an opportunity to be a part of the First Step. Thank you once again. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us this opportunity to spread awareness. And I hope we did our part the best, and the children in here are aware about got information about what SDG goals are and how they can perform their deeds. And you got the links on how you can participate, and also the links for the First Step and for the 24-hour challenge. So do check it out, and with that, we signing off. Have a great day. Yeah, if you want to say something.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much to the school, and thank you so much for all the students who participated. We hope that you enjoyed this session, and we hope that you learned from this session, and we hope that it will benefit you and the entire world on the long run. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day, and yeah, stay safe. Thank you. Thank you, Manoj sir, once again for giving us.
Thank you, team First Step as well. Thank you all.